Let's get going. Oh boy. All right. Didn't want to show all of that. Let's see if I can sneak this back over. Without, what's that? Who's that? Okay. Let's see. Any identifier? All right. Nope, that's not going to work. I have too many identifiers in there. Crap. All right. Let's see. Don't really know what we're going to do today then. Hope everyone is doing well today. No, I kind of had a premise. I was really stuck yesterday. I actually got a new book on data engineering, and I was just kind of immersed in that. So I hope everyone is doing well today. And it kind of dawned on me that I don't get asked the right question. And that's kind of one of my superpowers, is asking good questions. And it's like, I don't use it as a filler. I'm like, what is, it's not like something, what is, I don't know, I didn't even check the mic volume. How is, okay, I'm into the red, so maybe this isn't too loud. But yeah, that is the weirdest thing when I join a call. That messes up things. Let's see what this looks like. No, it's literally, it's a little bright. Fixes this issue back here. Okay, lighting is so interesting to me, but I hope everyone is doing well. Let's see. So we're talking about, I get asked all sorts of tool questions instead of, because I'm doing this in real time of me being in the middle of a boot camp and being extremely overwhelmed. Imposter syndrome, that came up last night in a talk that I was watching. Imposter syndrome. Is it Y? I think so. So we can talk about that all day. Imposter. Yeah, imposter syndrome. So let me go back to not that. There we go. So basically, if you don't feel it, in my opinion, you're not doing something new. You're not stretching yourself. So, or even just absolute sheer terror. So it's, so you don't know where to get started. So that's kind of the theme of today's video. Or today's live stream. Don't know exactly what the video is going to be of here shortly, but I know I need to start one. And I also just realized that the code that I have showing, I don't need all of that. Can I alias this? I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, because I think everybody has probably seen what my last name is. I guess I'm just terrified about bad actors and identity theft. But even people with larger channels have shown their names. So, all right. I may just... Because, yeah, I've learned all sorts of new commands for SQL. And this slowly changing database design. SCD, that is completely whooping up on me. And, slowly changing records, adding new records. I think I'm starting to wrap my head around. I just realized that I didn't post on, almost said LinkedIn. I meant Discovery. Everyone. I don't know if everybody noticed, but I changed, had to change my Discord because of wanted people to know who I was over on my other server that I'm on. Everyone, I'm live. There we go. And boom, and boom. Let's see. Let's go back here. So, all right. Is there anything anybody's trying to get started with? Because I think I talked about this in one video inadvertently, and I spoke to what was I talking about? And if you're only as good as the extra that you do. That's kind of been one thing I've also noticed, is that you have to work 40 hours. Everybody is expecting you to work 40 hours. So it's like, oh, I have a job. Well, everybody has a job. And then nowadays, everybody goes to school. I went to school. Well, everybody goes to school. So you have to differentiate yourself from others. So are you upskilling? Are you building something that nobody asked you to build that's needed? You don't want to just build. You don't want to just go if I don't know, just an example. I went and built this train track. Well, we don't use train tracks. We don't use anything like this. Or I went and built a fort, a tree fort. Well, no, I mean we use measurements and problem solving and thinking all the time, then hey, the example of the tree fort might work. But what are the base cases? What is a base case scenario of what is a transferable skill? That, I guess, is one thing that is super important. Hang on, why can't I find this? There's that conversation. All right, there we go. So I was watching this talk last night, and what came up about was imposter syndrome. And you vacillate back and forth. You go back and forth, and it's like, it's not fake it till you make it, but it's a subtext of that. But you're not faking it. You're moving through that. You're faking it till you make it. I think the actions look similar, but they're not. You're not faking it. You're just constantly going through because I was faking it till I made it at my old job. I didn't feel. It's more of an emotional. You don't feel like you deserve to be there, and you're like, how is this possible? Well, it's more of the art. You're doing more of the art than the science. So you're feeling your way through. Ooh, that's a good one. That is a great one. You're doing more of the art than the science. That's an interesting approach. So so if we think about that for a second, until you have a standard set of approaches, you're going to feel your way through it. And I know that sounds weird, but if you go back and study, the first example that I heard about that was when we were designing submarines. Peaky, how are you? My net is slow, but I'm here. So how are you, Peaky? We're just kind of getting started. Don't really know. I'm really immersed in the data engineering part, and I've noticed that may be a little too nerdy for for my community, because it's a pretty niche. Well, everything about me is niche. I don't know if you say. I think I like niche market, niche group. But yeah, we're a subset of a subset. But I like everyone who comes and hangs out here. I appreciate it. So the first example that I saw about an art before a science was reading about the submarines being developed in our Navy, and then not in chronological order, but in the order in which I read about them and learned about them. And then, of course, then they learned, and you do this, then you do this, then you do this, and then it turned into a science. But it's an art. It's an art first. So when you're doing something that is out of your element and you don't have a standard practice, it feels so weird because you're like, hey, will this work? Is this? I mean, now we have slowly changing design, SCD, which I'm like, wait a minute, what? So then I'm having to Google and go down all these rabbit holes. And then not only is SCD a thing, but then there are 3 types of SCD. Let's see. We were looking at this the other day. And let's pull up Wikipedia so we can make it type 2. Yeah, let's do Wikipedia so we can make this have a dark background. And I donated them the other day, so I feel like I am okay to do this. Sorry, I just thought I heard a weird noise. So there's up to type 7. See, this is extremely new to me. Let's get this framed up. All right. So retain origin. 1 is overwrite, which I think I used to do that. So that's more of an update. So you kill all the historical data. But 2 is add a new row and you cap the end dates. So that's what I've been struggling with right here. Type 3 is add a new attribute. But yeah, I got a new book, saw some gentlemen on LinkedIn, and I've watched a few of their podcasts about data engineering. And what's so funny is they call themselves reformed data scientists. So instead of, so you divide and conquer. So this whole thing about big data, how it has just come to be. And so you have people who collect, because there's just so much data, and that's kind of the joke. It's like machine AI is going to take over everything. Well, all right. Is it going to take over everything, or is it going to assist us in handling larger and larger and larger amounts of data? Because the question is there going to be less data or more data? And it looks like it's exponentially, because I keep hearing this thing, and I've seen this over the years. 90% of the total data has been created in the past 5 years. Well, I've seen that speech almost, if I looked back, I know I saw a speech 5 years ago, then I saw a speech last year, and then a speech 2 years ago. And I think people are still using that. So there's just more and more and more data. So we're constantly getting, I think you need some good hashtags, or maybe you need to work on this too to get people interested in what you're doing here. Yeah, but let's talk about that for a second. Peaky. People wanna. So, saw this the other day at jiu-jitsu. Man, it's fun to want to do something. To sit down and actually do it, that's a whole other ballgame. So what happens is people come here and they they come and they see and they want to do something, and it's all fun until they hit an unfun thing, and then they're like, well, this isn't fun. It's because it's supposed to be new and fun and exciting, right? So like right now, I'm working on this one query to get to from an art to a science for myself, my comprehension of understanding how to create a type 2 SCD. Venki, how are you? Glad to have you here, and good day to you. The slowly changing table. Right now, to me, it's an art. It's a feeling of it. But once I get it and it becomes a part of me, then it'll become more of a science. So when I have, I have a slowly changing, and what type do we need to do? Do we want to contain historical data? And then I just go da 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 da, and I draw it out. But that feeling and that, well, one, to be uncomfortable. I can tell I'm stressed because I'm getting canker sores. And that's one of my being tired and wanting to sleep a lot. That is a stress marker for me. Having canker sores is a stress marker for me. So I am really pushing through this. I've actually I'm resting. I haven't gone to the gym because I've also realized that I was pushing myself physically too much. So I'm I'm doing some recovery too, and doing just a lot of stretching and walking up and down the hill out front of my house. Alex, how are you? I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well. Haven't seen you in a while, or I guess a week, maybe. But yeah, we're doing well. Just kind of talking about a lot of things. We started with imposter syndrome. We're talking about just keeping moving, getting starting and keeping moving. What happens when you hit a wall? Will you climb over it? Will you go around it? Will you dig under it? It just all depends. So that's all well and good, Peaky, but if people come here, so people are only going to tend to want to watch me. There's only a handful of individuals like me, and I get it. And those are the ones that need my help. So the people who are better off and learn faster, they're not going to want to be here because they're not going to need as much encouragement as the people that I'm wanting to help, if that makes sense. So I appreciate the thought, but the risk reward, the ROI, return on investment, if the amount of time that I would spend on the hashtags and the thumbnails, it would, and I mean, how to get started. That's not I hate this term. It's not a sexy term, but everybody who needs to be doing something needs to be watching this video and learning how to get started and learning how to live in the discomfort of doing something that's uncomfortable. But that sounds awful. So I go back to all the books that we sell in the United States about losing weight, because everybody wants the magic thing. What's the one thing? And if you even notice in the news media these days, what's the one thing? What's the magic bullet? There is no one thing. There's like 30 things if you want to do something. And I mean, I'll go back to the Tom Brady example. He blueprinted out exactly how to be Tom Brady. But it was too awful, and it was too much work, and it was too hard. And one, the book didn't sell because it was too much work, and nobody does it because it's too much work. But that's why there's only one Tom Brady. Gary Vee says the exact same thing. I mean, he even says it in a lot of his speeches. I'm going to tell you all what to do it, and only 2% of you are going to do it. And I mean, when I see that, I'm like, that is crazy insane, because I'm going to tell you exactly how to be me and exactly what to do. Merge, insert, and update, or any other tool you are working with type 2. Right now, working on historical data. So what the problem is I think I showed it was creating rows of actor years, and I think I'm getting close on it. About tracking the change, going back and forth. If they were in this year, and they're like, if you're creating going back and forth. So let's see. Let's use this example. And I think we might need to record today's video pretty soon while the lighting is still okay. About just where to start. But let's do actor. We'll do this. There we go. And we'll delete. Actor. What was it? I think it was, we'll just do year. And then it was is active, and then active last year. And where it becomes very challenging. So here was the table. You'd have Shirley Temple. I have two go in. Is that right? Yeah. Charlie Chaplin. And basically it was like, I think it was 1932. And he was, that is not Charlie Chaplin, but we're going to leave it, 1916. So, all right, of course, they have a movie that year. They're active this year. But then this was their first year that they made active. So they were not active the previous year. And so let's flip these around. Sort, custom sort by year. Okay. We'll just do these in reverse. Now, where it got interesting is if they had another movie, then copy, paste 1917, then yes. So then in the results table, or the table that we may need to build, here is the actual records, and then in the slowly changing, it would be what was it? Copy, start year, end year. Let me make sure that you can see that. Let me put this underneath. Yeah. Here was the end year. I should have cut that. End year is active. So of course the end year would be 1916. Is active. Yes. 1932 is active. Yes. Then the results would be 1916 through 1917 is active. Yes. So it's a very interesting design where you take the results, you kind of build a secondary temporary table, then build this, and then basically tracking the gap of is active and then is not active. So then if they are not active for 3 years, you would have the 3-year gap of them not being active, and then if they came back and they began acting again, you would track every year, and you would have the gap from when it turned on and turned off, if that makes sense. Let's see. Are you drinking cold coffee? Me? No, I'm not a coffee person. What I'm drinking right here is one is a juice energy drink, and the other is a chocolate protein shake. So I think this channel and your streams are excellent for anyone who wants to learn something new, not just data science. Oh, well, I appreciate that. Let's see, what's the other? I don't go out much, nor do I have many friends, so your streams and your words and your thoughts help me on many other ways. Well, I really appreciate that, and I'm glad, and that's the point, and that's what I want to accomplish. I want people to have a place where they don't feel one, alone, but when they're trying to learn something new. The ASMR says ASMR says it is cold coffee. So sorry, I don't get that one, Alex. Right, because look, when I was learning, I was stuck. And even when I started this YouTube channel, I forgot. I lied to myself. I think I took a 6 or 8 month. It was a big gap because it was very hard. But then I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I need to do this. And that was when I decided to do the video a day because I needed something. So I was going, let me just tell this story. And then let's record today. And let's see. We may ramble here a lot. All right. Okay. You have to start. Hi, everybody. This is Sam with Python Basics. So let's just kind of jump right into this. I know you're here because there's something that you want to do. You've just got to start. Stop planning. Stop overanalyzing. Just start. Set time aside a day. Write down what time you're going to go and do that thing that you're going to learn that you've wanted to do. Pause this video. Write down what time you're going to do it and spend 15 minutes on it. Because what's going to happen is your journey is just going to start and you're going to do it. If that time, and what is so important is consistency. If you can do it at that time of day, every day, do that. Don't try to fill in the gaps from the start point to the end point because you don't know what they need to be. But you know where the end is and you know where the start is. And that's great. That just start, because I promise, pushing a car, pushing a rock, dragging something, the physics of it, the physics and the emotion are the exact same thing. Starting and emotionally and physically, energy-wise, is the exact same. It is the worst. It takes the most energy to go and just start. But once, it's just like a train. Once a train or a rocket gets started, it takes forever for it to stop, right? But it also takes forever for it to get going. So if you're constantly moving and you're having this perpetual energy and you're just moving forward, you just eat up all of these little roadblocks that you're going to hit, and you're going to have enough energy behind you that you've built up and momentum to continue on. But right now, I want you, if you're here because you know something in programming and you want to learn more, we're going to talk about this. We're tracking my journey right now, moving over from the data analyst role to the data engineer. And it is excruciating. It's uncomfortable, but I know it needs to be done. And that's how I really know it's the right thing, because I'm so uncomfortable right now. But, so that means I'm learning something, right? So, all right, real quick video today. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button so you can follow me along. Come here, join the Discord link down below so you're not alone and you get the help that you need and deserve. And you can ask a question. And we are highly focused on new people because I'm learning something new every day. So I'm constantly feeling new and overwhelmed and like an imposter. And I'm faking all of this. I know how you feel. So please come and hang out. Come and join us so you're not feeling alone and you can get better at whatever you want to learn. And we can go through it together. So Please drop any comments, questions, video requests. I want to be here. I want to help. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone. All right, make sure I don't hit stop stream. All right, there we go. Okay, so, all right, so let's talk about more about getting started. So it dawned on me. So my parents have been self-employed. I go back to this a lot, and if you've heard me, you're less like, all right, he's talking about it again. But they have built something that's pretty impressive. So it dawned on me that they were going to work because yes, they own it, but they work for the company. So that was when it made, you have to make something bigger than yourself, because if you depend on yourself to do something, you're less likely to do it. So if you think about it, because this is what dawned on me was when I was like, I would get up and go to work. So I'm getting up, but I'm going for somebody else because somebody else set the guidelines at what time I needed to be there, what I was going to do. So that's when it dawned on me. Facts. I hope your video gets viewed by more people now. Well, I appreciate it. I just want to help individuals and help them get better. Hello, how are you? Zubair? Glad you're here, Zubair. I'll talk about this, and then we're going to get back into the slowly changing database. But so my parents they set the hours, so they have to get there on time. And then that was when it dawned on me that they were showing up for the business, even though they owned it. They had employees, so they are getting there, and they have a set structure. So that was when I was like, okay, if I want to do this, I can't just go, oh, I need to make a video today. Well, what am I going to make a video of? What am I going to talk about? What am I going to improve upon? Because I tried to do machine learning. It just didn't intrigue me. As of right now, I may change my mind. It may become very intriguing, but I absolutely love solving a query and getting data together and manipulating it and going, just because we have a lot of, so you have videos on object-oriented programming? Yes, I do. I have a whole playlist on object-oriented programming. So you can go and check the playlist out and watch that. I don't really have a good reason of why I have so many low, because I am. So this is going to sound negative, but I don't view it as. I'm not flashy. I'm a marathoner. I'm not trendy. I do the same thing over and over again. I'm really good at being average. And that it's the tortoise analogy. The tortoise is going to win always, because the hare is going to use way too much energy. I care about 10 years from now. If you can tell the video number, like, there's a lot I want to start. Okay. All right. That's a great question. Let me go. Let me click over and look. Object-oriented programming. Maybe I called it class. Classifier. OOP, let me see. Oh, that's a loop. Classes, here we go. Where is... Let's see. Share videos. I thought I have 7. Get shareable link. There we go. Copy to clipboard. Hang on. Here we come. So that is a playlist for the classes that I have for objects. So, but all right. So back to me and being really good at being average. I'm getting better at being uncomfortable. Let's see. I want to paste. I want to drag this. There we are. Classes, yes. So, because if you think about it, so it's basically, I think the example that I use, I can't remember if I use cars or if I use dogs. So you have what? Kingdom, species, blah, 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 breed, blah, 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 all that in there. So if you think about that, you have a set and you have a subset. No worries, and you're very welcome. And then each, or even in a family. So you have a parent, and then you have a child, and then you copy the child, but not all kids are the same, right? They're going to have the same last name. They might have a little bit of the same pigment, but then it could go from there. Eye color can be different. What was so funny about my kids, when they were younger, when they were very young, one had a very thick Southern accent and one did not. And I was very intrigued by that. I'm like, how does that happen? But I mean, it's like that. One's pretty tall, the other one's very tall. Oh, boy, girl. I mean, all of these things and those attributes inside that class. So to be able to create, what I learned is objects have properties, maybe characteristics and methods and actions. Correct. So think about a list object. You can have more than one list in your program, right? And so they act the same or can be acted upon the same, but they're not necessarily the same list, but they're the same type of object. So you can add to it, you can slice it. So think about like if you were to make blocks in a video game. A block would have same attributes. You could shoot it, you could move it, you could paste it, but it's not the exact same block, but it has the same characteristics or attributes and the same rules. The same rules apply to it. So yeah, you get the whole discussion of optional OOP or functional programming. I think that's a silly argument because they each have their purpose and their use case. And the better question is, my thing is, are you asking a good question? So what do you do? Okay, so then turn that around. What am I going to do when I get the answer? That's how you know if you're asking a good question. But you also have to, but then the trade-off is you also have to ask a bad question to get better at asking good questions. So it's this weird circular argument. So all right. So when we are working with this slowly SCD, and I'm probably going to need to drop maybe in about a half an hour because I have some appointments to do today. So then let's say like Shirley Temple had a gap from here. And this is where this gets very interesting. So then it was 1918, 1918, not that, 1918, no, then 1918, and then watch this, 1919, no. So as this is evolving, and then 19, 18 and 1920 also no. So as this each year goes by, this stays the same. So it's a because what we're going to do is we're going to do like last year and this year and be able to then come through. So I'm getting close to having this look back, because you have to use a lag, and that's where it's becoming extremely challenging to get the right lag to do it. So I'm kind of stuck right there. But let's see, what else what was the high topics that we can do imposter syndrome. But I also know that we're going to need to actually show a video. But the community does not care for SQL. I find that very, very, very interesting. I thought it would be interesting because it would be problem solving, but it is not what the community wants. It just wants pure Python and very exciting and new things. And like I get asked, "Ooh, let's build an AI." There are so many things that would go. It'd be 200 steps before we could even do that. I forget who was saying it the other day, that there are so many libraries we don't have to build anything. Can't remember who it was. If you're here and you said it, we can talk about that more. I've thought about that a lot. About, I don't know, there's so many things to unpack with that. About how we think as a society now, instead of, we're very high level, when we create a list object, we don't need to import list class, but we need to define our class. Right. Well, but in the background, because we're creating let me finish reading, sorry. But when we define our class, we need to class and create the objects. Why is that? Oh, well, okay, that is actually a very good question, because, well, if we think about it, the list class is being defined already. It's predefined. So we're now using a user-defined class. We're creating an entire new object, but you're able to do that in Python. And I think you can do it in other languages too, but I think Python's better. I'm very biased. But because there may be something, so it's basically just a different style of problem solving. So functional programming has its benefit of, if I want to check if a prime number is, if a number is a prime number, or if a number is an even number or an odd number, we're going to utilize that function over and over and over again. Well, I'm going to use a lot of these objects in my program, and I don't want to rewrite this piece of code all the time. So I'm going to go and create this object in my program, and I'm going to reference it a lot. So a perfect example is in a video game, and you're going to have blocks flying around all over the place. And you don't want to have to go in and create new pieces of code all the time. You're just going to say, hey, this is going to be a block. These are all the attributes, and I'm going to let the program keep up with where they are. But if they hit themselves or something else, they change their trajectory, and you can set all these rules in here. And then if they get hit with this thing, they split in half, and it makes a new block. So don't think too high levelly about that. So I know that's a good question, but also let's begin to dissect that of what, because if you pull up, do dir on list, because then you can do dir on your object. So it's just a predefined object. And here's everything about it. Here's all my methods. And these are the things that I can do to my object. And I can place things inside of it. Help on a list. Because it's predefined. So don't get hung up on, is it already defined for me, or if I'm going to define it. So once you define it and put it into your program, they become synonymous. They become interchangeable, because you're going to then be able to reference it. So when I use, I can't remember if we're gonna try something. What is it? This iterable. I can't remember if this will put this into brackets or not. I want to see. Okay, no, it needs them. It's converting. So in the predefined, when I do this, Python knows this is a list because of the predefined rules inside of Python. So the general rule is it already knows what a list is, because it runs through. So don't actually think about, don't overthink this. So when you initiate and you open up Python, this runs and it goes, hey, I have all these rules for these type of objects. So if you insert your object in here, so when you run your script, it now gets that script and that object gets dumped into Python's memory, and it goes, hey, I know what these objects are. I know what, and then predefined, it now becomes a predefined function, predefined object, technically, because it is in memory and it would recognize it. So, what you do, dir, and it would be in here. So what? Did I define it? No. So when you run dir, it's like, hey, here, I'm going to tell you everything that I have in memory so far. And what I ran 1 through 6. So it's very, very, very handy and powerful. So don't get. So do you want? Here's a perfect example of getting started. Make sure the need that because people get burned out doing something because they don't have a need for it. And I know this sounds weird. So what? Necessity is the mother of invention, right? So when I go back to the story of I wanted to become better at Python, so I needed to go up a level because I was having a hard time learning on my own. I couldn't circle back and make myself learn something. But I went, my YouTube channel needs to have something learned. You must define the class and then create objects or instance of that class. Yes. So here's an example. Oh yeah. So all right. So list is an object, and I'm gonna go. All right. So X is now an empty list. Now this is the same thing, right? So don't. This is what took me a minute. Even though this is an object, it's assigned to that variable. So, but these are two same object, but two different two different variables of the same object. So they're technically two different objects. So when I have this and this, they look the same, but x dot append and y dot append, they're operating completely independently. And let's see, and I'll prove this to you that they are completely opposite. Actually, I could have changed that. We're going to do this even differently. We're going to make y this. Hang on a second. I think I know where you're going with this, but watch this. 2. Okay. They look the same, right? And ID y. These are in memory in two separate locations. So these are two separate objects. Even though they can exactly act the same, they are different. Now, I don't know what... Will this know that this is an int? I've never done this. Let's find out. Let's see. Okay. I wasn't sure. Takes 1 argument or 3 arguments. What? Takes 3 arguments. Never seen that before. So, all right. Type is your friend. Dir, help, and type. But Peaky. So what my only concern is wanting to. You're wanting. We've got to turn a want. Ooh, that's a good. Hang on. We have to turn a want into a need. That is good. All right, let's talk about that for a second. So what in the world do I mean you have to turn a want into a need? So dyslexic. All right. A want will get tired. A want will get burnt out. A want will stop wanting. When you turn a want into a need, it becomes an obsession. You have to do it. So with you wanting to learn object-oriented programming, my question would be why? Because what my concern is you're going to get started, you're going to get stuck on something, you're going to stop. Now, if you're building something you have got to use OOP, absolutely, there's no, it has to work this way. You're having blocks that are falling down, and you've got to turn them into object-oriented programming. The functional programming is just not working. Perfect, because this is going to be this fire, this absolute need, this quest, this must-have, and you're not going to be able to stop. And it's just gonna stick with you, and that's what you have to learn something as challenging as programming. Because I actually theorize that a lot of the programmers, the software engineers, leave is because they never had the want to. They were smart enough to do it. They can do it, but it never was a part of them. And I don't blame them. I just I feel bad for them, because I mean I've gotten more nerdy and more nerdy as I've gotten older, and learned more and more and more and more, and gotten smarter and smarter, only just because of my work ethic. Because I mean, it's not easy to get up, and I love hanging out with everyone here, but I mean, I want you to think about this for a minute. I bet Zubar came, hung out for a minute, and is probably gone. But why low attendance? How many of you would sit here and do this and only have, some days it gets up to 7 or 8, but most of the time it's 4 to 5, and just continuously do this? It is not easy to do, but I'm here to get these things out of me and have epiphany moments. I mean, if you want to use multiple functions. I think with classes you can easily use. So if it's an yeah, if it needs to. But what my point is make sure whatever you're pursuing, you have a use case for it, because you will get burnt out and you will hit a wall and you'll have something that's frustrating. So what is going to pull you, have you get over that wall? That's my only concern. So if you go and you're like, and that's kind of what I was talking about in the video of what is your draw? What is going to be your motivation? Because everybody has to have motivation. And typically self-motivation is not enough. Back to the Tom Brady thing. He had a date and he put it on his dry erase board. It was a date and a place, and it was going to be where the Super Bowl was. So even he had this push. And then also he was chasing Michael Jordan's championship number. Now, I don't know who Michael Jordan chased. That guy is just a beast of and there are very few individuals like that. So to have this want and desire and to pull and push or whatever just to keep us moving, it has to be something bigger than ourselves, or we become stagnant. We become, and even building a team or having a community. I mean, having you all helps a lot. I mean, I was very frustrated yesterday, and I was really trying to get this one thing figured out, and I wasn't in the best of moods, so I didn't think I would be a bunch of fun and wouldn't be able to answer some very good questions that everyone has. So and it was late. Like I didn't realize what time it was until like 8:30. And okay, so let's see. When do you use the DIR method? There is more information available as well. What's that? And yes, sorry to disturb you again and again. No worries. Look, Peaky, that's what I'm here for, is for us to drive a conversation. So when do I use DIR? When I can't quite remember what is like. I use it all. I mean, I use it all the time. I've been using Python for 11 years, 12 years, 11 years. Coming up on 12 years, and I still use DIR. Because I'm like, wait a minute, what is it? I can't remember. Was it a dictionary? I can't remember the last one that I couldn't quite remember. I think it was pop on a list. So where to go? Okay, we're just gonna do dir on list. Dir on list, because I couldn't remember. I was like, wait a minute, is it? Oh yeah, it was index and find. Was it find? Index and who's got find? There was some, see, again, I don't memorize like an output of dir. There are methods, but some other information as well, like an output, like an output. Sorry, Peaky, I'm lost. Not like an output. Enlist. So what's enlist? So what's that? What's all this right here? So like I used because where is the font? What is it a string? Well, now I'm. Okay, find, it was in string. I couldn't quite remember in classes. Oh, how to do dir with your class? Oh, you have to create a dir method. Yeah, right here. So look. Okay, so we're heading towards the outskirts, but all right, these underscore methods are enabling it Let's see. Yeah, reverse. Where is reverse? Reverse should be here, or is it sort? Alright. Because reverse is a function. Oh, not on string. So here, dir list. Yeah, reversed. And so these are, all right, so these are the methods that functions work on. So these are, so it's, if I were to do reversed, is sorted not in here? So if you see dir in here, double underscore, so that is the functionality. If I run dir on this object, what am I going to do? That is what these these underscores, methods, etc. What did I mean? My question is from where this information is coming. Oh, in the list class object. So when the creators of Python created the list object, they have this documentation. So when you call this function on that object, this happens. And that is, don't hold me to it, but it is, well, it's under the dir method, but what output to create, because it is, again, a double underscore, please don't say dunder, double underscore method or secret method. So this is the object. So if you think about it, this is everything that you can do to it. These are the actionable, what you can do, and then these right here are the things that, how Python itself, dir is a Python function, right? This is how the programmer can interact with the object. This is how Python can interact with the object. So that's a very good question. Did that help? Because, look, it's hashable, so I can turn it into a dictionary. I can get rid of attributes, delete items. I can run len on it. Subhook class, that's getting very, very, very deep down into Python-ish. String, because I can pass this in as an iterable into a string. I can make an iter object. So I hope that helped. Oh, if you have not hit the like button, do that for me right now. All right, so I have maybe about 5, maybe 10 minutes at the most. What is it? Reversed? Yeah. So there we go. So that is, so there is a reversed function. So, but it's reversed. There we go. Help. There we go. So what does it do? All right, reversed sequence, return a, so that means create, reversed iterator over the values of the given sequence. All right, so this information is about what you can do with the object. Yes, that is a perfect way to do it, perfect way to look at it. And help is the expanded information. So dir is kind of like, because if you look at, let's do help on list. Let's do dir on list. Let's do help on list. So if we look really, really close, starts out with add and class and contains. All right. Add. Okay, class went away. That's interesting. So add contains. So it gives you more of a breakdown. So it basically is like, okay, here's a more well, like here. So look. Okay, it does not have help. I'm a little surprised by that. So I want you to look. It has a little bit more. Oh, there's the class. And it says, like, it's like, what can you do to it? And all of this is typed into the list object. And I don't think we can get to this, but you can go in and pull up any sort of, the map, because I'm trying to remember what module you can pull in that's not built-ins, but you're able to go in and you literally can see the file that gets run, and it has all of this. Like, all of this is in the file. So when you run this object and you run help, all of this is output, and this is actually in the file. And then when we get down here to our methods, we have append, clear, and it literally then expands upon what does it do, how was it built, how is it constructed. So there's a constructor. Hang on. Nope, I thought so. The constructor is even buried further in. But repr, what does it represent? What does it out? So I think this is actually on help, if I remember. Don't quote me on that. And then these are the methods that the programmer can enter, the user of this object, not the end user, but the programmer, and how this works. So all right, I did set an alarm for my last drop dead warning because I got to do stuff and then get out of here. So thank you everyone for coming to join today. I think this was a great discussion. I'm going to keep working on my slowly changing design, and I will hopefully see everyone tomorrow. All right, talk to everyone soon. Bye everyone.